Hey everybody, it's Mike, and I'm back actually. I'm back after being away for a while. Um, okay, so let's get right into Hare Krishna updates. This one is about sex and homosexuality. A lot of shit going on the internet. They're talking about a lot of stuff. I see videos, so I want to talk about that. And first, we're going to do this. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, okay. So, um, I don't know. I don't have a. I'm not a big YouTube channel, and I don't have a lot of followers. I don't have a lot of subscribers or views. But I know these crazy Hare Krishnas. I know these crazy Hare Krishnas. I know they 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 watch something because they talk about the same stuff I talk about. And I know it's weird, but what can you do? But anyway, I'm going to get to that in a minute. But right now, I'm going to show you what Prabhupada, the founder, has to say about homosexuality and homosexuals. And then we'll get into what the cult says now, which is basically the same thing. But I just want to show you where it all comes from, where we can start from. And it's right here. So this is from their books, their webpage, their vedabase.com or whatever it is. And so here this is from the, oh God, what is it? It's the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3. So it's the third canto, chapter 20, verse 17. That's what it is. So Prabhupada's explaining the creation, Lord Brahma creating the universe, everything. So it says here, the translation is, because I'm not going to sing the stupid verse the way they do it. It's like, why? So it says here, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was lying on the Garbhodaksha ocean, entered the heart of Brahma, Brahma brought his intelligence to bear, and with the intelligence invoked, he began to create the universe as it was before. Now, I'm not going to read the whole purport here because it's not important, but I'll read the one that is important. So the next verse. First of all, Brahma created from his shadow the coverings of ignorance and the conditioned souls. Ignorance of the conditioned souls. They are 5 in number and are called Tamisra, Andha, Tamisra, Tamas, Moha, and Mahamoha. Okay. Okay, this is verse 19. Translation. Out of disgust, Brahma threw off the body of ignorance, and taking this opportunity, Yakshas and Rakshasas sprang for possession of the body, which continued to exist in the form of night. Night is the source of hunger and thirst. The next verse. Translation. Overpowered by hunger and thirst, they ran to devour Brahma, from all sides and cried, "Spare him not, eat him up." We'll go to the next text, to 21. Translation: Brahma, the head of the demigods, full of anxiety, asked them, "Do not eat me, but protect me. You are born from me and have become my sons. Therefore you are yakshas and rakshasas." He then, next verse, translation, he then created the chief demigods, who were shining with the glory of goodness. He dropped before them the effulgent form of daytime, and the demigods sportingly took possession of it. The next verse. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 20, Verse 23. Translation: Lord Brahma then gave birth to the demons from his buttocks, and they were very fond of sex. Because they were too lustful, they approached him for copulation. Purport. This is what Prabhupada has to say about that. Sex life is the background of material existence. Here also it is repeated that demons are very fond of sex life. The more one is free from the desire for sex, the more he is promoted to the level of demigods. The more one is inclined to enjoy sex, the more he is degraded to the level of demoniac life. Text 24. The worshipful Brahma first laughed at their stupidity, but finding the shameless Asuras close upon him, he grew indignant and ran in great haste out of fear. Purport. Sexually inclined demons have no respect even for their father, and the best policy for a saintly father like Brahma is to leave such demoniac sons. Next verse. Translation. He approached the personality of Godhead, who bestows all boons and who dispels the agony of his devotees and of those who take shelter of his lotus feet. He manifests his innumerable transcendental forms for the satisfaction of his devotees. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, 20-26. Translation. Lord Brahma, approaching the Lord, addressed him thus: My Lord, please protect me from these sinful demons who were created by me under your order. They are infuriated by an appetite for sex and have come to attack me. Purport by Prabhupada. It appears here that the homosexual appetite of males for each other is created in this episode of the creation of the demons by Brahma. In other words, the homosexual appetite of a man for another man is demoniac and is not for any sane male in the ordinary course of life. So that's what Prabhupada's view of homosexuality. Now, he says it right there. Print it in his books. I think he said about 5 times that they're demons. They're born from Lord Brahma's buttocks. The homosexual appetite of males for each other is created at that time when Brahma is creating these demons. These are demons. These are homosexual demons, and the appetite of a man for another man is demoniac, and it is not for any sane male in the ordinary course of life. It's plain as day, clear. That doesn't need to be explained. He's saying homosexuals are demons, they're insane, and no sane man should have anything to do with that in his life. That's just it. Bottom line. But moreover, they're demons. These are demons. Prabhupada's making that clear. That these are demons. And this idea of homosexuality is demoniac. It's evil. These are the same, he puts them in the same category as cannibals and the evil demons, rakshasas, Yavana, yakshas and rakshasas. These, anyway, that's Prabhupada's view. Plain and simple. And then he doesn't say much more about it in his books. He does, but not much more in his books, but in his lectures, in his conversations, in videos, whatever. He says a lot. He says a lot about it. And it's taken up by this cult. So let's see. I want to thank Elena for coming. Yeah, good afternoon. Thanks for my hair color. Thank you. Nice hair color. Lord Brahma then gave birth to the demons from his buttocks. Goddamn. Yes. And I've been saying that for a while. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's in the books. It's right there. It really is bad. Yeah. This cult causes mental illness. So like I was saying, the reason I bring this up is because my friend, I knew my friend, Jagjivan, he was gay. Now, he wasn't out of the closet, but everyone knew he was gay because that's who he was. He was this gay guy. And he acted, he wasn't flamingly gay, like he wasn't like, singing songs, but he was definitely gay, and everyone knew it. But he didn't. He was totally in the closet. Everyone knew it. He was in the closet, but everyone also knew he was gay. And I don't know if his friends really liked him because of this. I didn't have a problem with him because I wasn't. I was the new guy. I wasn't these old timers. You know, I was much more open minded. But I knew he was. I could see that he was gay. And everyone else, and he ended up committing suicide because he was living as this gay man. He wasn't married. He didn't seem happy. And then one day I heard he committed suicide. And evidently it was that he left. I guess he left a note. He was like this. I don't know how to describe the guy. He was a really nice guy, and I just think that his friends, everyone around him, and his friends, they knew he was gay. He obviously couldn't be gay in this movement. It's not allowed. Why he's in it, I don't know. Was he having sex on the side? Like, was he going? I have no idea what was going on. But he gone, killed himself, and others have too, because they're so messed up in the head with this cult and their own sexuality, their own who they are. Like their brain can't. And then there's these Hare Krishnas that are gay that become gurus, and I could see that they're gay. Just like this other guy. They're no different. except he wasn't a guru and they were. The same characteristics, the same, just, I don't know. I think back when guys in business and guys in entertainment and whatever, they couldn't come out of the closet, but people kind of knew. They called them, they had names. Light in the loafers. He's a little whatever. He doesn't cut his cake the way whatever it was. There was a way that, because it's evident sometimes. It's evident. And back then, when guys wouldn't come out of the closet, they couldn't come out of the closet. Back turn of the century, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, whenever, they existed. And it's the same in the Hare Krishnas. They're just not like the other macho guys, because they're not. And it's just a weird kind of dynamic. When I saw it, I was like, obviously this guy's gay. This guru's gay. He's got 2 boys living with him. But that's okay. I mean, the guy was no different than the other guy, than my friend, but he was a guru. He'd run in the temple and he could do all the things that a guru could do. He was just as gay as this other guy. And I don't mean it like it's a bad thing. I'm just saying, how is this, what is going on in this cult? These head games, this mental illness, where one guy is committing suicide because he doesn't fit in, and yet this other guy is a guru, which means he's like one of the leaders, and they're both the same guy. The fuck is going on? And then the gay guru guy has got the nerve to sit there and read and preach out of these books that are saying that the guru, that the homosexual is a demon, and that he came out of Lord Brahma's ass. I mean, what kind of mental fucking, how do you have to twist your brain? How do you twist your brain in such a way that shit makes sense? These guys do it. It's the same way they twist their brains to say that, well, this guy's a pedophile, but you know what? He's really not. Or he's a guru, so we have to forgive him for being a pedophile. He touched these little girls, but the book says because he's a guru, we can't do anything. That's the world that these people live in. That's why these guys are protecting pedophiles left and right. I know many LGBT individuals left ISKCON and go to Evangel for this man. Okay, now you bring up a good point. I was gonna bring this up later, but you're bringing it up now. Okay, so a normal person would just leave. If you go to a cult, you go to a church or a temple, and they're preaching that homosexuals are born, you're a homosexual, and you go to a temple and they're saying that you were born from Lord Brahma's ass. You're a demon. You're evil. You're horrible. You're all of these things, right? That I just read in their books. And the guru is preaching this stuff. Normal person turn around, walk out. Wouldn't they just turn around and walk out and go, that's not for me? Well, they have a whole Hare Krishna. I thought I had it up here. They have a whole Hare Krishna. Here it is. They have a whole Hare Krishna gay and lesbian Krishna cult association. Where they're just like, well, we're gonna be the gay faction of this ridiculous cult that hates us. Talk about twisting your brain, and how do you how do you how do you just twist and tweak your brain like that? We love this cult that hates us so much that we're gonna be the gay section of the gay hating cult. It's a cult that hates gays. And yet there's a group of gays and lesbians that are like, well, we demand to be part of your cult. Does that make any sense at all? That's like black people demanding to be part of the KKK. That's like Jews demanding to be part of Hamas. How can gays demand to be recognized in a cult that hates them? Why would you voluntarily join a cult that hates you? That says you were born from the anus of Lord Brahma? How does that even make sense? Yes. And the same goes with the child, with the pedophilia. And I'm not saying that the homosexuality has anything to do with pedophilia. I'm not saying that. I'm saying their attitude of this mental gymnastics is the same way that these gurus will sit there and protect known pedophiles. They're They protect they protect the gurus that are pedophiles because it's their buddy. And then they find a verse to say that says, well, it says in the book that I have to forgive the guru because he's being a guru. And then they turn around in the same book and say, well, I have to hate gays because the book says that I have to hate gay. It's the same mental thing. Like, you just can't see that the guy touching the little kids is wrong, regardless of any book. You have to rely on a book to tell you that this grown man shouldn't be touching this little girl or this little boy. I mean, you have to rely on a book to tell you that. Insanity. And I'm going to say it again. Cults cause mental illness. Normal people walk in those doors. They don't know what they're getting into. They have no idea. And then they get their hooks in them, and the next thing you know, they're crazy. They are mentally ill. They're believing in who knows what. Who knows what? I don't know what these Scientologists actually believe. You have to ask them. But they believe in some weird ass shit. I know what the Hare Krishnas believe, and that shit is fucking bonkers. Yes, the very own gurus protect other gurus and men who are also sexual predators and pedophiles in the Hare Krishna cult. Talk about throwing out their common sense with it. The temple president in L.A., Swavas, told me he could not ask the, the predator that touched my daughter, he couldn't make the guy leave his building, even though he owned the building. And they were making all kinds of people. They kick people out for smoking pot. They kick people out for drinking beer. They kick people out for eating hot dogs. They kick people out for having sex or whatever. But he couldn't kick out the guy that molested my daughter because that guy hadn't been convicted of anything. How does that make sense? He was purposely protecting that guy. He could have kicked him out. He kicks out people every day. He was purposely protecting the guy that touched my daughter. There was a police report made. My daughter was in therapy, put there by the police of the city, attorney or whatever. They just couldn't get a confession. That's how disgusting the whole thing is. Without a confession, they couldn't prove it. They couldn't go to court. So the guy's allowed to live in the community, and then he just leaves on his own, and then nothing happens. The guy's free to go molest somebody else. That's how this shit works. And all of those people at the LA temple that helped protect him are guilty. They protected him. And all the kids that he touched after my daughter, they're responsible for that. They could have came forward and helped put that guy in jail. Every single one of those people. Everybody at that school. Every one of those parents. Everybody in that community could have came forward and said, yeah, that guy's a scumbag. Nobody did anything. And then they got the nerve to sit there, well, we're not a pedophile cult. We don't protect pedophiles. We don't do any of this shit. Bullshit. All of those parents, they knew that guy was in that. They knew that Padmagarva lived in that community and he had touched that little girl. And no one told me. How are they protecting children when they're just letting child predators just walk around their community like it's no big deal? How dare they? How dare they say they have a child protection office? And how dare that guy call me, that Dira Govinda prick, whatever his name is. He wasn't trying to protect my daughter or do anything but protect the fucking cult. He didn't want no lawsuit. He knew I went to the police. Veerabahu, the guru of LA. He didn't do shit. He didn't do shit. What kind of guru? Why didn't he do anything? Why didn't he kick the guy out? They don't protect children. They don't give a fuck about children. Except to molest them. They got some fucking nerve. These guys got some fucking nerve, man. I'll tell you. Piss me off. And then they want to talk about, they want to act like Prabhupada didn't say what he said. So they have this article. I'll show you this article that just came out. April 8th, right? Like a couple weeks ago. Sexuality, Dharma, and civilizational collapse. And here they say, in what follows, we do something unusual. We examine the modern sexual revolution through the lens of Srila Prabhupada's words. Okay, so we know Prabhupada's words. I just read Prabhupada's words. We know what he said. He said the demons are coming from Brahma's ass. Too much sex causes. They don't want to look at modern psychology, activist rhetoric, or cultural trends, or just modern society. They don't want to. They don't want to look at sexuality as the world is evolving, because they want to look at the world, child marriage, 11-year-old wives, polygamy, and that homosexuality is wrong and demoniac. This is what they believe. And that gurus can do no wrong, even if they touch little girls or little boys. The gurus are perfect God's representative. And they also believe in decorating little statues of people, imaginary people, little dolls, dressing them up, and that's somehow spiritual life. They don't believe in sex, love between a man and a woman, raising a family. That's not Hare Krishna life. They don't believe in that. And all of these people that come, these husband and wives, they join, and they got their kids, and I see it every day. These YouTube channels with these happy women. They're not happy. It's such bullshit. I know for a fact. How can these women run around chanting when they know? In Prabhupada's books, he talks about child marriage. He talks about 11-year-old girls. He talks about Krishna having sex with 11-year-old girls down by the river. It's all brainwashing. But that's what it is. Once you pull back the curtain of this cult, and you see that it is all sex, it is all perverted, disgusting 11-year-old girls having sex with this Krishna and these gurus molesting little girls and little boys. Prabhupada talking about how he was 22 years old when he had sex with his 11-year-old wife. 11-year-old wife. Bragging about it, laughing about it. This has nothing to do with love. Love between a man and a woman, love between a parent and their child. They don't believe in that. They don't believe in that at all. They believe in loving a statue, an imaginary person. That's all you're allowed to love. You don't love your wife, you don't love your husband, you don't love your children, they don't love you. And they're going to sit there and talk about love and sex and tell people about why you shouldn't have sex, why you shouldn't fall in love, you shouldn't get attached, you shouldn't have feelings for someone because it's all temporary. And you should just dance around and worship some imaginary person. because that's what really makes you happy. Selling books in a friggin' parking lot out of a shopping cart when you're 75 years old. Just basically begging for money and giving somebody a book in return. I would want that book. Set up a book table and have a sign that says Krishna books for sale. See how many books you sell that day. 0. But you run around the parking lot shoving books in people's hands, asking them for $5. Yeah, they're going to give you $5 to get you the fuck away from them. That's the goal of life. That's the goal of life. Selling this dickhead's books, this predator's books, this man who had sex with an 11-year-old girl when he was 22 years old, and then he writes about how Lord Brahma farts out homosexual demons. You want me to sell his books in a parking lot for the rest of my fucking life? You gotta be out of your mind. And then my friend Jagjivan kills himself because he can't live with being a gay man in a fucking cult that hates gays. It's just the Davic frame. Here they're talking about sex through the lens of dharmic Hindu Dharma or Sanatana Dharma, as imagined in the mind of Srila Prabhupada, who never had a loving relationship with a woman. He hated his wife. He rapes an 11-year-old girl, and he ends up hating her for the rest of his life. She hates him. He has kids that he didn't even want. And this guy's going to talk about sex and love? You got to be kidding me. You absolutely got to be friggin' kidding me. In the Vedic Devic vision of reality, sex desire is not a personal quirk or private preference. It is the most powerful material force binding the soul to repeated birth and death. Right there you go. Right? Sex desire. Evil and wrong. You should have no sex desire at all, which means you shouldn't even fall in love with someone. Why would you fall in love with someone? It is the biological expression of the soul's entanglement with the body, manifesting so strongly as the impulse to reproduce. This is not just metaphysical poetry, it is observable biology. They're trying to trick you into thinking that this is real. The imaginary what Prabhupada's imagining in his mind is not just his imagination, it's observable biology. That the soul is entangled with the body, manifesting strongly as the impulse to reproduce. Where is that observable? What the fuck is he talking about? Evolutionary psychologists and geneticists confirm that the reproductive imperative is the central engine of biological life. From the peacock's feathers to human courtship rituals, from the drive for status to the fear of rejection, sex and reproduction are the scaffolding of human psychology. He's talking like he's living 1,000 years ago. Like he's like human psychology and understanding and relationships hasn't evolved at all. As if men are still whacking women on the head with a club and dragging them off to a cave. But Vedic wisdom takes this further, he says. It reveals that this reproductive urge is not merely a function of survival, it is the outward symptom of a deeper ignorance, the soul's misidentification of the body. It's ignorance. It's ignorant to have sex desire. Not only is it ignorant to have sex desire, but it entangles you to the suffering of this material world. Why in the world would you want to suffer in this material world? Give up your desire for sex, for love, for having a relationship with the opposite sex, a family. That's entanglement. That's attachment. We want to become detached. Because he didn't know how to have a loving relationship with a woman. He didn't know how to enjoy just being with a woman and enjoying a relationship, because all he could think about was this friggin' cult that he wanted to create. So she fucking hated him and he hated her. Then he's going to sit there and talk and preach like he's some fucking Sigmund Freud or some Dr. Ruth or fucking Dr. Phil. Because why? Who the fuck is he? The world's biggest failure? Failure at everything? Including having a family? Having a loving relationship with a woman? He couldn't do that. The fuck? And he's going to talk to us and tell us that homosexuals are born from Brahma's anus? Yeah, just spread your homophobia out to everybody. Just share your homophobia with everyone. You couldn't satisfy a woman. You couldn't have a loving relationship with her. You're fucking homophobic as hell, so you got to put in your books that homosexuals are demons. Don't have a relationship with anyone. Don't get entangled with a family or a material life. Just go around and sell your books. That's what he just sell my books, okay? Don't do anything else in life except sell my books. What the fuck? This most attractive feature in this material world is sex. That is the foundation of material life. Srila Prabhupada, Bhagavad Gita lecture, London, August 16th, 1973. This wasn't in 1922. This is 1973. Prabhupada says, sex life is compared to the rubbing of two hands to relieve an itch. The fools are not satisfied by repeated enjoyment, but the sober who can tolerate it escape the suffering. Srimad Bhagavatam 7:9-45. He couldn't comprehend the idea of a man and a woman falling in love and wanting to spend their lives together. And then having children and raising children in a loving environment. It's completely foreign to him. In his world, a 22-year-old man has sex with an 11-year-old girl, rapes her basically, and then she falls in love with him for the rest of her life. Why? I have no idea. And then he goes on, and when he reaches 50 years old, he says, fuck you, get away from me, and he goes off to the forest to be a guru and whatever. That's Prabhupada's idea of life. For him. So we have a pretty good idea what Prabhupada's idea of sex and homosexuality is. It's just more of the same. It's the same thing over and 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 again. The guy wrote massive amounts of books because he was just saying the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Chant Hare Krishna. The holy name is not different than Krishna. Lord Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago. Lord Chaitanya appeared 500 years ago. Chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Prabhupada is the guru for the age, coming down in the Sampradaya. He's the Sampradaya Acharya. Worship him. He'll take you back to Godhead. Sell his books is the best way to do everything. Just sell his books and preach the Prabhupada. That's it. That's all. That's basically it. And he just said that over and over and over and over in so many different ways, in so many different books. That's it. Because every single story, every single verse, everything he said that he translated, everything he said about it has one of those things in it. The holy name is not different than Krishna. Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago. Lord Chaitanya appeared 500 years ago. Sampradaya, Parampara, Sanatana Dharma. Over and over and over again. There's nothing revealing. There's nothing extraordinary. That's why nobody cares. I mean, hell, if friggin' Mark Twain, or if Mark Twain had written as many books as Prabhupada, we'd be like, fuck, this guy wrote. No, Prabhupada's books is the same shit over and over and over again. Nobody cares. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't say anything revolutionary or mind expanding. He doesn't reveal anything other than Krishna is God 5,000 years ago. Lord Chaitanya 500 years ago. Holy name, non different than Krishna. Chant the Maha Mantra. Blah 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 blah. Same shit. That's it. Even when you break down what Prabhupada says about Lord Brahma and in all of his purports about what he's saying, it all goes back to the same things. Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, Guru, Parampara. It's the same shit over and over again. So, let's see. So now I want to show you this video. And you can hear a guy this video was just 2 years ago. Nothing's changed. And this guy's one of the leaders of the ISKCON movement. This guy's really creepy. I think this guy's really creepy. But anyway.
I was asked this question by two disciples of mine in different parts of the West who are leading ashrams, brahmachari ashrams, male ashrams for monks. In the West, this is a big question. As the Western world is determinedly promoting a utopian ideal of egalitarianism and wiping out, or imagining themselves to be wiping out all the inequities of the past and making a wonderful world. Imagine all the people living for today, and so on and so on. Traditional values are under the steamroller of enlightened thought, or what some people consider to be enlightened. Anyway, I don't have much personal experience of living in the West for more than 40 years now, so I asked some of my godbrothers who do have experience in the West what they thought about this. And then I replied that better not to allow homosexuals in our ashrams. Well, why not? Obviously, well, not obviously, but many might say, well, why not? They'll think it's outrageous to even raise the question. Of course, everyone should have the opportunity. Why discriminate? Homosexuals are also human beings. Yeah, true, but human life. Let's try to understand this from a deep perspective of what actually is going on in this Krishna consciousness movement. The basic principle of this Krishna consciousness movement is to understand that human life has a specific purpose. Contrary to the myth of life having arisen by chance from random chemical interactions, there is God. He has made the universe in a certain way. Human life is meant for a specific purpose. There are many different forms of life. We go from body to body to body in the chain of repeated birth and death, the cycle of repeated birth and death, reincarnation. Human life has a specific purpose. God, Krishna, has given us sufficient intelligence, sufficiently expanded consciousness in this human form of life so that we can realize that this cycle of birth and death is miserable and live in a manner, specifically conduct our lives in a manner that is conducive to self-realization, which means purification of consciousness. So human life has a specific purpose, and it has to be lived in a specific way to fulfill that purpose, which means there are many do's and don'ts. Purification of consciousness means becoming free from material desires, foremost among which is the sexual desire. We have so many material desires, but particularly sexual desire chains us in the cycle of birth and death. So to get free from this, or even to live as a civilized human being, we have to follow certain rules. And if we're going to take to the path of spiritual upliftment, then we have to voluntarily accept more rules, just like in our Krishna consciousness movement. For anyone who wants to be initiated, that means to take to the path of Krishna consciousness seriously, they have to follow 4 prohibitions. No eating of flesh foods, meat, fish, eggs. No garlic, no onions also. No intoxication. No illicit sex, and no gambling. Illicit sex means sexual activity outside of marriage, and even within marriage, that which is for recreation more than procreation. So it's very strict. And ashrams, we're talking about ashrams, monasteries for monks and brahmacharis and sannyasis. So they're completely prohibited from any sexual activity, which is why they come together to live together, to help each other and reinforce each other in this difficult path of trying to become free from sensuality. Ashrams are meant for sexual segregation, to help to curb the sexual appetite. Now, even at the suggestion that there should be any kind of restrictions on homosexuals from doing anything else that anyone else is allowed to do, that will seem to some to be outrageous, retrogressive. They won't even listen to any such arguments, let alone even have the capacity to understand them. For persons who believe that, well, we're just here now, we just live once and enjoy yourself as best you can. Human life is meant for sensuality. Then it will, any restriction on homosexuality, if people say, well, if you want to enjoy yourself like that, well, why not? It will seem outrageous and retrogressive. But anyone who has even an ABC understanding of spiritual life will understand that if you're going to be serious about spiritual life, you're going to have to accept many restrictions. It's not just a matter of feeling spiritual. One actually has to act in a disciplined manner. And particularly sensuality cannot be indulged in, either heterosexually or homosexually. It's ABC. Now, sometimes it's said that Srila Prabhupada, the founder of this Krishna conscious movement in the Western world, he allowed homosexuals in his movement. There is a story told, although it is a story, which was first started to be circulated long after Srila Prabhupada left this world. There is a story that one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples revealed to Srila Prabhupada that he had homosexual tendencies, and Srila Prabhupada said to him, well, why don't you just find a nice young boy and live with him in Krishna consciousness, something like that. It's a story. We don't know. Anyone can say anything. It's certainly not in line with Srila Prabhupada's general attitude toward homosexuality, which was not favorable. It certainly wouldn't be in line with what is considered right and proper in much of the Western world today. It's said that Srila Prabhupada knew that some even of his leaders were homosexuals. But there's no real evidence that Srila Prabhupada knew that they were homosexuals. Maybe he did, and maybe in his liberality he allowed them to remain in Krishna consciousness within his movement and even to be leaders. We don't know. That we don't have any record of Srila Prabhupada knowing of his leaders being homosexuals. But as a general principle, we have to be careful. Maybe even more careful than Srila Prabhupada was in some instances. Just like Srila Prabhupada, he gave sannyas to many young men. We don't do that in our Krishna conscious movement nowadays. We're more careful because there have been many fall downs from sannyas. Srila Prabhupada would sometimes give sannyas on the spot to young men who simply asked for it. And we don't do that. There are many checks before sannyas is given. Even in the early days of the movement, Srila Prabhupada would sometimes give initiation with very little background checking. But seeing that so many went away, Srila Prabhupada gradually became more strict. Arranging marriages. Srila Prabhupada arranged marriages, and later he changed that. He thought that devotees would they would commit to their marriage vows just on the strength of their commitment to Krishna.
All right, I just want to I just want to go back and say, okay, so this guy. First of all, I have to say this: he pals around with pedophiles and pedophile protectors, and he protects them. He goes and hangs out with known pedophiles and people protecting pedophiles, and he protects them as well. So when he talks about spiritual whatever and being spiritual, he's got a lot of nerve, okay? Secondly, so this guy, he knows good and well that there were homosexual leaders of Prabhupada's movement and that Prabhupada let them in his movement. He knows for a fact. He's saying, oh, we don't know. We know. Not only do we know, he's full of shit for even saying that. Not only do we know, but he would sit there and say, if I said to him, did Prabhupada know the past, present, and future as a self-realized soul, guru, pure devotee? Did he see Krishna direct? Did he see Krishna in person? He would say yes. Did he know past, present, and future? Was Krishna dictating his books to him, as he said? He would say yes. If he knew past, present, and future, then he had to know who was gay and who was a pedophile in his movement when he gave them initiation, because he knows past, present, and future. And why wouldn't he know those things? If he knows other important things, like being able to see Krishna right face to face. He didn't know Hayagriva and Kirtananda were having sex? He didn't know Kirtananda was homosexual? He didn't know Sudama was homosexual? Goddamn right he knew Sudama was homosexual. You don't think he knew Bhavananda was homosexual? You're goddamn right he knew Bhavananda was. You don't think he knew Bhavananda was messing with little boys? You don't think Prabhupada knew what was going on in the Gurukula in Dallas? He knew when they told him what he knew when they told him what was going on in Vrindavan and in Dallas. He knew. Did he kick anybody out? Did he do any of that? Did he do any of the right thing? No. Did he give Sudam, a known homosexual? Did he give him sannyas? Yeah, he did. Don't sit there and act like you don't know. You sit there and act like you don't. That's why I said this guy's such a fucking creep. Such a fucking creep. Gonna sit there and act like he don't know this shit went on. He knows all of this shit. He knows about Lokanath Swami touching the little girl. He knows about all the child marriages that Prabhupada sanctioned and let happen. He knows all about it. He's gonna sit there and act like he don't know, like he's above it all. This guy, this fucking guy.
conscious, but not many did. So Srila Prabhupada, he just disassociated himself from the whole business.
See how they are? They want to act. They're going to act like Prabhupada had nothing to do with any of this. Prabhupada had nothing to do with it. Prabhupada let these homosexuals in his ashram. He let them in. He made them gurus. He didn't turn them in. He didn't help the kids when he found out the kids were molested. He didn't contact the parents. He probably didn't know who the parents were. That one girl said she didn't know who her parents were. Her parents dropped her off at the temple when she was a baby. And they ran off to go play Hare Krishna. And she was raised by whoever raised her. She didn't know. She's asking, who's my parents? I don't know. She was like 16 before she figured out who her parents were. You think she's the only one? Come on. You think her story was special? Do you think the girl that got raped behind the stage at the festival and then got married and sent to India by some guy, you think she's the only one? You think she's the only one? Oh my God. Fucking disgusting. Fucking disgusting. All right, I'm going to have to say that's it for today. Thanks for watching, everybody. You have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye.